Every day in the life of the world, people die and people are born. People get married, and widows and widowers find a different life. Kids are going off to the first day of school, and then the first day of college, go to the military, a lot of people try to just eke out an existence because they're so poor. Other people are doing darn right well right now, financially. That's the regular routine. Crisscrossing, what's your good day is my bad day. It's life. But not these past months. While all that still happened, it was muted because we were all put smack on the same page. For some of us, this past year has been an inconvenience. God bless you if that's all it was. For other people, the carpet was taken out from underneath them with no job, and everything in between. I can't imagine that there is one person on the face of the earth, the Congo, Afghanistan, Cherry Hill, that was not impacted in some way. So we were all on the same page with what has been a horror. Some people are still not out of their homes, out of safety. I continue to talk to the regular people who come here about the fact that St. Mary's Nursing Home, those people haven't been allowed out of their room for a whole year, never mind in the building. They haven't been out of those four little walls, and some of them don't know it, but others do. And you have your own parallel experiences, or you know people who have had those experiences and are having them still. This is the effect. There are some people who say, God is punishing us. I don't know what version of God they possibly could believe in. But it's becoming clearer and clearer that what has occurred is because of sin. What do you mean, Father? Greed caused this. Somebody wanted to make a big buck and didn't follow health precautions. Some people didn't respect nature, and everything got thrown off. They'll tell us the real truth 50 years from now. But it was caused deliberately, not spontaneously. And it was caused not by God, but by greed. And it flattened everything. Well, in a very real way, not just poetically, but in a very real way, that's what we as Catholic people believe happened when Adam and Eve did what they did. People say, well, that's a fairy tale. Well, it's a legend, it's a story that's meant to bring out a point that is the truth. When left to our own devices, we ruin things, both as a human race, what God never intended, and it also appears in our own life because of deliberate decisions. And it's what I want, not what he wants. So if I'm deciding to cause trouble in the family, It's going to be hell in the family today at that Easter table. So there is a definite parallel here. That when Adam and Eve did what they did, sin and death, and before that, disease, occurred not by God's design for the world or for our own individual lifespan, but it's there. And we may not have even caused it deliberately, but we have the effects of it. So today is not just a nice day, but we say it altered things spiritually, supernaturally, so that we are able to look at what life hands us, both good and the beautiful and the difficult and the cross in our lives, differently for people who take this whole thing seriously. But many people, not you, but many people think that Christ is still dead. He's dead in the sense that they were here last, 4 months ago, when he was a cute little baby. And now, I'm not exactly sure what to make of it all. But we go, because we're supposed to, or not. So the Easter message has a definite, or should have a definite impact on us in terms of what we have all experienced in our lives, one way or the other, to one degree or the other. This is why he came, to try to turn, not to try, but to turn everything right side back up again, if not in this life, then in the next. And there is a next. And we're told that there is a next because the tomb was empty. It wasn't there. The angel said to the women who went there, I got bad news for you and good news. He's not here. Go ahead of him and go to Galilee. You'll find him there, alive. And so for 40 days he appeared bodily, ate food in this resurrected body of his, and yet went through walls to appear to others. All those pictures underneath the Stations of the Cross are called the Stations of the Resurrection, which we're going to have every Friday afternoon here, like we had Stations of the Cross. The many, many appearances, and we're going to hear them should you come back next week. And you'll hear it again and again for 50 days. And then after that, everything else that we hear when we come here, should you come back, he's alive. Not kind of like. He's not dead. Some people have, consciously or unconsciously, sometimes somewhere in between, kept him dead. Well, he's somebody that I learned about in my infancy. But he's not alive for me now. They may not even think that. God bless them. All of us, even if we are trying to do our best in the practice of our Catholic faith, have to be careful that we don't keep him dead. And that we say he is alive. Truly, he has risen. What does that mean? That means that we take him seriously. Not as a figment of somebody else's imagination, and for some people that's what he is, because he's mom's thing, but not my thing. Well, he should be, and perhaps mom did her best, dad did her best to introduce us to him. But something else happened. The world. And we have to admit that some of it is because we haven't been as insistent on the fact that he is alive. If he's not alive when you go into the voting booth, He's not alive. If he's not alive the way you handle your business, then he's not alive. Somebody from the past. The tomb may be empty, I guess, but I don't know what that means. And so it's wonderful to be out and about now, isn't it? A little bit. We still have to be careful. And we are careful with all of that every single Sunday here. Have been. I thought back to last Easter night and Easter day. It was horrible here. 3 priests trying to make Easter at the altar, and everything was empty. It was terrible. And it was terrible, I'm sure, for all of you in some way. So we have been given, as a generation now, this is the pandemic generation, whether you're old or young, this is our generation now, an opportunity to see where Christ is alive. Not poetically, isn't that nice he said that, but actually. And that we say, everything that I do, everything that I'm about, I'm supposed to not just bring him in, but to make him the center of it. He's the way that I'm going to decide how we spend our money as a family, how we spend our time on Sunday, how we spend our time together, perhaps actually praying together at home. How about that? And if we do, we know the blessings that come from it. Keeps us sane. Those old people at St. Mary's, those who are still with us mentally, have the beads in their hands all the time to keep them sane. They're smarter. So this is not a myth. This does not sit on the same level, and I know you know this, as the Easter Bunny. But a lot of people think that. At best, some people, not you. You're here, God bless you, thank you. But it's a serious, holy day, the holiest day of our year, every year of our life. And no more has it been more holy than this past year, making this Easter give us a compass. And that is that we understand that while life goes on and people marry and are getting married and having children and all that sort of thing, we were not made for this world. While God gives us the time between birth and death, it's wonderful, it should be wonderful, and we should do everything that we can to make it wonderful. And even if it is, for the most part, God bless you if it is, we were not made for this world. And if that causes us fear, then we don't know him. He's not alive. We may think he is, or maybe we may think that we think that he is. But this loving Savior, with nail prints and with a sword in his heart after his own death, is asking us to renew, which we will do in a minute, seriously, personally, our vow to him. Most of you are in marriage vows, and you give everything else up, and you should. Well, we're all supposed to remember the vows that at one time were given to us, but then at some point we're supposed to say, no, I do. like you don't have a proxy in a marriage saying, I do. Every Easter Sunday, we're asked to say on our own, not because of Mom 25 years ago, I do. I do believe in you personally. You are alive in my life. Help me to be seriously and intentionally married to you. It's an awkward word in a way, but it's the one that easily describes, because most people live that life, what it is to be married. And these vows, which hopefully you will respond personally and with integrity, say, I do, are the vows by which we will be judged. And so it's a beautiful day, but it's a serious one. He has risen. Bad news, he's not in the tomb. Good news, he's up and around. In our own hearts, all we got to do is feel our beating heart. All we have to do is take a long breath in and a long breath out. He's there in our soul. He's here every week in bread and wine, actually, not kind of like. And so for many Christians who say, I enjoy going to church now at home, good. And for those who can't, who are Catholic, understandable. But it's not the same thing. It shouldn't be the same thing. He's coming there, actually. He said it. And so we believe it and we enjoy it. This is a living Christ who asks you to bond yourself again to him in what was once given to you because of your parents. Thank God for them. I don't know that I would have known Christ without them. But then at some point you say, I got to take this thing to heart or not. And many do not anymore. So maybe being all on the same page in our common human nature and disaster of this past year, it may come to some people's attention that we were not made for here. No matter what the circumstances of our departure are, whether we're a statistic that we see on the news because of this disease or not, we all go back. And for us who try to understand and believe, what a joy that's going to be. He's going to have his arms opened. And he's going to say to us, welcome home. Because you and I, we walked together consciously, intentionally, actually. So it's a blessed life that we're celebrating. In the midst of this craziness, it's a blessed life that's coming. We can enjoy some of it here, because when a man marries a woman, they know what the love of God is. When a man and a woman have a child, they know what the love of God is. When you first fall in love, you know what the love of God is. When you see friendship tested or always there, like so many heroes and heroines who take care of all these people who are dying, you know the love of God is there. So it's beautiful, but we have to be careful. And he asks us to bond with him. That's what these vows are going to ask you to do. Personally, again, if you, I'm sure, do it hopefully every day, but this is the day that we say, I know that you are alive. I know that my Redeemer lives and that he will come back for me and that I will enjoy something that I cannot even imagine. That's what St. Paul said. We can't imagine it. Because even as beautiful and as wonderful as life may be, we always say, sooner or later, that was nice. Now what? When we go back to him, there's not going to be that. Not going to say, well, this is nice. Now what? No. He is asking us to live with him here so that we can enjoy something that no ear has heard, no mind has imagined. We cannot wrap our mind around it. And not just that, but forever and ever and ever and ever. So it's a great day. But in the midst of this past year, with all that you had to carry and all the whole world had to carry, we know that we're not made for here. And whatever good we can do, let us do it. And let us go to him all the time in the Eucharist, not kind of like in prayer, but actually the great heritage and treasure we have as Catholics, not because we're better than anybody else, but that has been given to us, is himself. The very body and blood that was crucified and risen from the dead, we will receive again today. He's alive, living and breathing, not just in bread and wine, but in everything that this whole life of ours has shown us in so many splendid and sometimes difficult moments. I am not alone. We are not alone. That he abides with us should we make that consecration to him every day, in our prayer, every week in the Eucharist, and with all the crosses and the wonders, beautiful things that he allows himself to have with us. So this is the day the Lord has made. We rejoice because not only is he risen, but we know that we will, hopefully, get there and enjoy it all with all those wonderful people who may have given us our faith, our parents, the thousands and thousands of years of our Catholic faith. And today being divided very much about who's a devout Catholic and who's a practical Catholic. They're not the same. May God bless you.